our first guest to join us on the show. This is very exciting. So our first guest is Zoe. Hello, Zoe.
Hello, Katie. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing a live 24-hour maths show. How did this happen?
I don't know.
Zoe's also been involved in the organising of this, so I'm going to claim that it is partly also Zoe's fault. Zoe, you're
mostly your fault.
Yes, I don't know. There's a percentage. We'll work it out later. Zoe, you're a former maths teacher and now maths presenter, I guess.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
So what do you do?
That sounds perfect. So I'm a mathematician. I used to be a maths teacher. So I guess now I'm a maths communicator like you are, Katie. So I spend a lot of my time talking about maths, often in schools, usually in schools, although less so at the moment. More sort of virtually beaming myself into schools at the moment with the ongoing pandemic.
That's where we're all at.
Yeah.
Cool. And I guess you have a magic trick for us.
I do indeed. So actually in my magic trick, I'm going to try and break a record. So I'm going to try and break the record for the highest number of consecutive coin flips ever memorized by me. And so I've memorized up to 30 before, and today you're watching the live premiere of me trying to memorize 40, which I mean probably won't work, but we'll give it a go. So Katie's going to be flipping a coin 40 times, which sounds a bit excessive. She's going to flipping a coin 40 times, and I am then pretty much almost immediately, with a little bit of thinking time, I'm going to just try and recite those 40 coin flips to everybody watching at home. Katie's going to flip, and then she's going to write on a piece of paper which is visible to the camera. She'll write down the sequence of coin flips so that everyone at home can see it. And then of course, actually, I'm going to put a blindfold on before I recite them. Otherwise, that's not a trick. So that's the trick. I mean, we say it's a trick, but Katie can confirm this. There's no technical wizardry going on. We haven't kind of prearranged what will happen behind the scenes. So it's not a trick in that sense. We're not trying to trick you. We're not trying to cheat you. I will genuinely be trying to memorize the 40 coin flips. So if you look a bit stressed, there's a very good reason for that. So I'll generally be trying to memorize them, but there is something kind of extraordinary, which is helping me do this memorizing. And that extraordinary thing, it could be my magical party hat, which is I mean, it's nowhere near as good as your hat. If I'd known you'd be wearing a hat, Katie. Anyway, so my magical party hat, which is just to help me get in the magic zone. Could be this, or it could be some maths. I'll leave it up to you to decide.
Really, no way to tell.
There's no way to tell. No way to tell. Is it the hat or is it the maths? Who knows? So that, I mean, I think that's almost all the admin. I think before I start, I probably should remind people at home that we're doing 40 coin flips. So if I was just guessing, then we could expect me to get 20 of them right. So if I get more than 25, I'm kind of happy. If I get more than 30, I'm really happy. And you can give me a round of applause at home, and you, Katie. And if I get more than 35 is amazing. 40 would actually, I mean, you can just go wild if I get 40. So 40 is the aim, but anything above 30, job done, as far as I'm concerned. So without further ado, I think I'm probably ready. Okay. Katie, are you ready? Have you got a coin?
I'm going to switch over to my table cam. So this is hopefully, this is showing you my table down here. So I'll be in the bottom corner with my coin, flipping the coin. I'm going to write down the sequence on here. Oh, look, that's the donation link down at the bottom of the screen. How convenient. If anyone was wondering what the donation link was, it's right there. Okay, so I'm going to start flipping and I will write down the flips as we go. So here we go. That is heads. So I'm going to start off, where's the top corner? There we go, heads. Tails. I've genuinely practiced flipping a coin because normally I would flip a coin with my left hand. And the left hand is currently doing the Sharpie. Let's call it that one, heads. Okay. Oh. Get the next coin. I've got a whole stack of coins. I'm not bending down for coins. All right, there's another heads. That one's gone as well. It's all right, I've got 7 coins. We'll be fine. Okay, here's the next one. Tails. Right. this genuinely went much better in the practice. I'm going to stop dropping coins any second now. Okay, tails. I think it's the hat, you know, I think the hat is what's throwing me off here. Heads on that one. Tails. Heads. Okay. So we're looking, was it 40? We're doing 40 of these. Oh, you know what? I'm going to lose the hat. I'm going to temporarily lose the hat because I think that is what's throwing me off here. It's actually, it impinges on the top edge of my field of vision. That's the problem. I've lost the ability to see things above my own eyes, which is quite hard if you're flipping a thing up in the air and then trying to catch it. Tails. Heads. This is actually entertainment. Anyone who tuned in expecting 24 hours of snappy things happening all the time will be quite pleased to hear that you can't actually fill 24 hours without at least some of that time just being watching a person flipping a coin. Here we go. I've dropped so many coins. I'm surrounded by coins on the floor now. Tails. 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 Incidentally, if you're finding this boring, now might be a good time to head over to the donation page and have a think about dropping in some coins of your own. See, I did a link, I did a reference. Tails. Heads. Tails. 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 We're getting there. That was another tails. Tails. Wow, I've had 5 tails in a row. What are the chances? No, nobody tell me. Heads. Tails. Okay, we're on the home straight now. 10 more to go. Heads. This is proper magic, right? Heads. You see, we could have done this in advance. We could have said, let's flip a coin 40 times before the show. But then you would never have believed us because Zoe could have just memorized that and she could have had all week to do it. Heads. This is genuinely a sequence of coin flips. That one's gone. I'm on the last coin. A sequence of coin flips that has been custom made specifically for you, the audience. Genuinely, potentially never seen before. Quite exciting, isn't it? Okay, a couple more coin flips to go. Tails. And I think 2 more should get us up to 40. Tails, and 1 more coin flip there is tails as well. Okay, so that is our sequence of coin flips. So Zoe, you're going to memorize this now very quickly. And then Zoe's going to blindfold to indicate that she has finished memorizing and is happy. The eyes are closed. Okay. Okay, it looks like the blindfold's about to go on. Okay, I mean, I don't know if anyone at home is going to try and do this along, but I'm going to try and point to each letter as Zoe says it so that we can check that she's getting this right.
Okay, I think I'm almost ready.
Okay, blindfold is on. Okay, now Zoe is going to recite all 40 coin flips in order, starting from the top left here.
Okay, you can see the blindfold.
Yep.
Heads, tails, heads, heads, heads. Tails, tails, heads, tails, heads.
Yep.
Heads, heads, tails, heads, heads.
Yep.
Heads, tails, 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 tails. That should be 4 tails in a row.
Yep.
heads, tails, heads, tails, tails.
Yep.
Tails, 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 heads, tails.
Yep.
Heads, 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 tails, heads.
Yep.
Heads, is that yes?
Yep.
Heads, tails, 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 tails.
Incredible! Oh my goodness. That was absolutely amazing. That was absolutely ridiculous.
Okay. Oh, my hat fell off. Never mind.
I mean, my hat's going back on now because I don't need to be able to see things above my own eyeline anymore. That was absolutely incredible. I mean,
I did it!
Yeah.
Genuine sigh of relief. So that was all correct. Amazing. Right, so there you go. You've seen it. You've witnessed the live premiere of Zoe doing 40 coin flips in a row. That was a little bit nuts. What did you think? Thank you. Great coin flipping, Katie. Excellent work.
I mean, there's a lot of coins on the floor right now, but I still have one. So I think that's an indication that I pulled out the right number of coins to put on my pile of backup coins.
You had more than one. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I'm not gonna tell people how this is done just yet. I think I might give people a little bit of time to have a think. And actually, I'm kind of interested to know what people think. But if you think you've got a kind of inkling or a suggestion of something I might be doing to help me, even if you're not 100% sure about it, then you can put that in the YouTube live chat. But as Katie said earlier on, if you know exactly what I'm doing, like you know for sure, you know the whole thing, you've seen me do it before, maybe you've seen me do it 30 times, then don't put it in because that's a bit of a spoiler. But if you think you've got like a bit of a guess, or like you can explain like a third of what I'm doing or something like that, put a little suggestion in the YouTube live chat, because I'm interested to know what you're thinking. And in the meantime, we'll give you a couple minutes to do that. In the meantime, we're just going to have a chat, and we'll come back and see what you've written in a second.
Yeah, fantastic. So this might be a good time to ask Zoe, what have you been up to lately? What kind of things are you doing?
Okay, so I mean, as I said, I've not been able to, I've been into a few schools, but for the most part, I've not been able to go into schools like I normally would. So I've been sort of investigating, like lots of people who are doing this magic show, I'm sure, I've been investigating virtual talks and how to make them interactive and make them exciting, make them as exciting as real life, I hope. So that's been taking up a fair bit of time. So I do that with Think Maths, who are an organisation Katie will know very well.
I'm familiar with their work. Yeah.
So I go into school. So it was organised by Matt Parker, the stand-up mathematician. He founded Think Maths, and so I go into school. So if there are any teachers watching, then you can have me virtually in your school. It's I can do all sorts of different things, all sorts of different topics. Actually, I do a mathematical magic talk. But it doesn't include that trick, so there's no spoilers for if you choose the maths magic talk. All sorts of topics. There's a probability one where students are kind of playing probability games remotely, which is kind of nice. It's going down well. So if you are a teacher and you are interested, as if by magic, here we go. That is the website address. So Think Maths. There you go. think-maths.co.uk. Very easy to remember. So I've been up to that quite a bit of time. Maths Inspiration, I'm doing a show in November for Maths Inspiration. And so Maths Inspiration is founded by Robbie Stewart, who I think you've got coming on tomorrow.
Later. Yeah.
Later on the show. So Robbie Stewart is a maths author, maths speaker, and he founded Maths Inspiration to kind of bring maths to life in theatres for teenagers. Although at the moment, again, they're not actually happening in theatres, they're happening virtually. So they've got a series of virtual shows happening over the autumn, and I'm in one of them in November. I think, for adults then, so not for people who aren't teachers or students, I'm in 9 lessons and carols for socially distanced people, which is far too long for me to write on my board. So yeah. I'm not going to do that, which is, I don't, is that a sort of cabaret? Is that how you describe it, Katie?
Yeah, like a variety show of science and comedy and music and maths, and yeah, they're quite tolerant of having quite a lot of maths people on there. I've done it a few times myself, but yeah, they're quite happy to have maths people on there, I guess. Yeah, they are. Yeah, so it's a sort of cabaret of all sorts of interesting things, basically. Interesting people doing interesting things, and it's usually in theatres, but this year it's a 24-hour kind of extravaganza like this is, and it's virtual.
Yeah, so yeah, it's virtual. Some of it's being streamed, I think, from theatres. Some is coming from other locations. So yeah, so that's definitely worth having a look at. I think is the link to that, maybe it might be under my name on the website for this show.
Yeah, we're going to add any links that people mention in the show. We're going to try and add them on to the website at 24hourmaths.com. Potentially also put them out on Twitter as well. So keep an eye out on things. If there's anything people mention and you think, oh, I can't remember what that thing was that someone mentioned, you can have a look on there at the end of the show and find out about that. Cool. That's great. I can't imagine how cool it would be to have someone come and do a school show and do a trick like that, and everyone in the school's just like, what? How have you done that? And in fact, everyone in my head is like, how have you done that, Zoe? So I think there's been a couple of mentions in the chat of some suggestions for how you might have been doing that.
Okay, I'll have a little look. I'm just gonna, it's very highly technological, it's on my phone. Actually, I probably also have it anyway. Let's just do it on my phone, that's the easiest thing. So we can see what people are saying, hopefully. I say it's on my phone. It is on my phone. Okay, so let's have a look. Or you can, oh, someone's written, well done, Zoe, thanks very much. I know that isn't what this is about, me just, I should actually be looking for comments.
I mean, that's why we're reading here, isn't it? Just for the well done.
Okay, interesting. So people saying something about converting numbers, using numbers, telling yourself a story with heads and tails. Very nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I wish I was a good storyteller, but perhaps that's not what I'm doing. Someone said, "Is it magic?"
I think there's a couple of people have spotted that you said them in groups of 5.
Ooh, did I? Okay. I was doing them in groups of 5. I didn't know how obvious that was. So that's a nice little clue. So well done, whoever said that I'm doing them in groups of 5. I'll tell you what, I'll give my secret away. I will reveal how this trick is done. So I'll just whiz over to my slides. If we go over here, we can do that. Just give me 1 second. So I am grouping them, which is definitely my first step. So well done if you spotted that. I'm grouping them into groups of 5. So this is my example sequence of coin flips. So this would be my first 5. And that's like 5 things to remember, which is quite a lot. So ideally, I want to be able to condense that information into something that's easier to remember, something that takes up less space in my head. And my first step for doing that is to convert those into numbers. So those of you saying converting into numbers, good work. And specifically, I'm converting the tails into 1s and I'm converting the heads into 0s. Now, this is still 5 things, probably doesn't look any easier to remember, but some of you will recognize this as binary, of course. So binary is the number language, number base that computers count in and that computers store information in. They do everything in. And in binary, this string of 1s and 0s doesn't represent 11,101. It represents a much smaller number, which crucially is much easier for me to remember. So that is what I'm doing. And so some of you will be fluent with converting between binary and base 10. But if you're not, I'm going to give you a whistle-stop tour to doing that so that you can do this trick yourself at home. And the first thing to understand is how we count in our number language, and we're all really good at that. So we know that 1 at the start doesn't represent 1, it represents 1 lot of 10,000, and that second one represents 1 lot of 1,000. And so you read that string of digits and you know it means 1 lot of 10,000 plus 1 lot of 1,000 plus 1 lot of 100 plus 0 lots of 10. We're not taking a 10 plus 1 lot of 1, right? So it's nice and easy. Binary, pretty much the same idea, although our number base, our number language is base 10, and binary is base 2. So instead of having the powers of 10 as our green column headings there, we have got the powers of 2 in binary. And otherwise, it's pretty much the same idea. I read that string of digits as 1 lot of 16 plus 1 lot of 8 plus 1 lot of 4 plus 0 lots of 2. I don't take a 2 plus 1 lot of 1. And that gives us 29, of course. And so my first 5 coin flips are being turned into 1s and 0s, and they're being memorized as 29 in this example. And then, of course, I'm doing the same thing for all the other groups of 5 coin flips. In this example, I've just got 6 groups of 5 coin flips, but in reality, in that trick just then, I was doing 8 groups of 5 coin flips, which was pretty tricky to remember. I think that's probably my limit, if I'm honest. I'm not sure I can do more than that. So I'm remembering 8 1- or 2-digit numbers. And then how am I reciting back to the audience the heads and tails? Well, I'm recalling that base 10 number, like 29, for example, and I'm turning it back into binary, converting it back into binary. But instead of saying 1, I am saying tails, and instead of saying 0, I am saying heads. And so that's my coin memory trick. And so hopefully you can have a go at home. You can do your own coin memory trick. If you do more than 40, then you have officially outdone me, and you can, I don't know, be on the show next time or something like that.
Yeah, that's the world record for memorizing as many coin flips as Zoe. I think it's an official Guinness record. I think they're going to add that in there.
Let's call it that.
Yeah, it's such a nice little trick, isn't it? Because it seems really impressive, but actually there's this sort of, the fact that you've just got heads and tails means actually it's not a lot of information, because it's, if you're remembering a sequence of letters or numbers, like if you're remembering the digits of pi, because people do this, right? There's people who compete and there's a world record for how many digits of pi people have memorized. And it's terrifying. Like they're there for 3 days, and they have to stop to eat every so often and then just keep saying digits of pi. But because there's 10 different things each digit can be, that's a lot more information than just it being one of 2 things each time. I'm not talking down what you've done here, because of course this was an incredible magic trick. But the fact that it's only heads or tails means that actually it's a bit less information than it looks like that you're memorizing. So remembering 40 things when they're each one of 2 things is easier than remembering, 40 whatevers that could be more complicated. That is such a lovely trick as well. And I think there are a few people, the best thing about this is going to be the kinds of predictions that we get in the chat for how tricks might work. So someone suggested you might be using hexadecimal, which I guess is, a related concept that it could be. There was actually, my favorite one was just that you're actually magic, which I think is what's really happening here.
So it was the hat. Yeah,
that was another suggestion, that it was the hat. So it could be any of those things. Who knows? There's no way to tell. But I think that's been a really nice little trick. So thank you very much,
Thank you very much. No problem. Thank you for having me.